The Aqara G2H gateway camera is a HomeKit Secure video camera and a Zigbee hub, but is it the right device for you? Stick around and we'll help you decide. Greetings Internet, it's Dustin again with my HomeKit Home, bringing you all things Apple HomeKit, from news to how-tos to product reviews, just like this one. So if that's something that you're into, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you don't miss out on any of our new videos as soon as they're released. So if you haven't noticed, this summer has been flooded with announcements and releases of HomeKit Secure video cameras. And when Banggood reached out to me to see if I wanted to check out the Aqara G2H gateway camera, I jumped on the opportunity. If you're not familiar with Banggood, they are a third-party reseller primarily offering tech gadgets, but they do have other items as well. They have really fast shipping and they have a tracking system for their packages as well, which I really appreciated. So if you're interested in picking up the Aqara G2H gateway camera, you'll find a link in the description box down below. So this time around, I won't bore you with an intro, let's just jump on in. Okay, so let's break this thing down. The Aqara G2H gateway camera is a 1080p camera with a 140-degree field of view. It also has built-in infrared for motion detection and night vision, as well as two-way audio. It does have local storage supporting micro SD cards up to 32 gigabytes, although we are hearing that it is capable of, cards with larger capacities. It does currently come in 4 different color options: the white, blue, yellow, and kind of an orangish red color as well. Through the app, we have a couple of really unique features. We have the ability to automate a privacy mode, so we can decide when we would like the camera to be, kind of accessing any of the footage that it may be receiving. And we also have the ability to have it monitor for abnormal sounds, and we can also adjust the sensitivity of that. Looking at the device itself, it does take a micro USB cable, which is included, which I really appreciate. It's not a connected cable, so we can adjust the length, or if you have any issues with the cable, that's something that you can do. So we'll get a voice prompt once we've set it up. Well, I don't speak Chinese, but the Apple Home app can help us. In Apple's Home app, we'll tap the plus button at the top right and we'll tap Add Accessory. We'll scan the code on the foot of the device. It is a QR code. And then once we get this kind of process started, it's just porting over all of your Wi-Fi credentials, and I'm assuming this prompt is letting us know what it's doing. The first step, once we've got it added to HomeKit, is to set up all of our preferences in terms of HomeKit Secure Video, so we can decide whether, what actions we want it to take whenever we're home, whenever we're away as well. So whenever we're away, what I tend to do is have it record when we're away. I'm not really so concerned about it recording when I'm home because, well, I'm home and I can address any issues that may be happening there. Now, we do have the ability to detect specific activity, or we can stream it, or we can also record. So that's one of those really useful features of HomeKit Secure Video. Now, in order to use HomeKit Secure Video, we do have to mention that you must be using some sort of paid iCloud storage plan. This could be either the 200 gigabyte plan or the 2 terabyte plan. Either one of those will work. The next step is you can decide who you want to share the camera feed with and how they're able to access the camera. Next up is all of our settings for the camera itself. You'll notice that we do have access to the motion sensor, and we also have access to the camera itself. So just a quick note here on HomeKit Mode in the Aqara Home app. It does function just the same as it would if you used Apple's Home app to set up the G2H camera. You won't have any extra functionality. However, if you do want extra functionality, you'll need to switch to the Mainland China server once you've logged into the Aqara Home app. So moving over to the mainland China server is no big deal. From the profile tab, we'll tap on settings and then it will go into the region. From the region, we'll select the region that we would like to add to, which would be the mainland China server. It will log you out and then you'll just log back in with the same credentials. Nothing actually changes here. Let's go ahead and address one of the big things that you may be thinking about, and that is, your privacy and your security. For me, if Apple, it's still a HomeKit Secure video device, it's still a HomeKit device, which means it still needs to meet the same strict standards that Apple puts on any of their HomeKit devices. So personally, I have no problem moving over to the mainland China server. If you do, then you may just want to stay in HomeKit mode and you're still getting a really quality HomeKit Secure video camera in that realm. However, if you want more functionality, you'll want to go ahead and switch over to the mainland China server. You can see here that we do have a QR code, and this is how we actually get the camera set up in the Aqara Home app through the mainland China server. It'll move over all of those credentials to the camera itself and get it all set up on your Wi-Fi network. It'll ask you if you want to bind it to HomeKit. So let's look at some of the features that we can play with in the Aqara Home app. So there really are a ton of features with the G2H in the Aqara Home app, and we'll try to touch on a couple of them here. So here is the main interface. We can see that we have a kind of an estimated storage or a file size for our recording there at the top. We can also choose if we want full HD or if we want just standard HD. I'm assuming that's 1080p and 720. We also have the ability to turn our audio on and off, and we can put it into landscape mode as well. Across the bottom there, we do have the ability to put it into privacy mode as well as use it as an intercom. We can also pause the recording at any time that we would like, as well as take a snapshot, which does go to your photo library, so that's something to keep in mind. From the top right, if we tap the three horizontal dots, we get into the meat of everything here. So if we tap on more settings, that's really where we start to get into some of the more fine tuning of this camera, and there are a ton of features. The first that I really want to touch on here is within the camera settings there, and that is we have our status light. Right, so we can have this, whether it's recording or not, we can choose to have a light on the camera itself. I have that turned off. Getting into the motion detection, we can, really kind of fine tune where and what is detected in the Aqara Home app. We also have a lens correction feature. Simon from HomeKit News went into this, and it's a very slight difference, but it can reduce that kind of fisheye effect. So I thought that was a interesting feature, to say the least. Looking at some of the other features here, we can toggle on our mobile data if we want to restrict this to only when we're on Wi-Fi. It's a good thing. We can also, and this is a new feature, is we can select the language, which is a good thing for those of us who don't speak Mandarin. Although, I didn't really find it necessary to understand exactly what was going on with the different features or the different voice prompts that were coming out of the camera. We can also look at our kind of activity zones here, right? So we do see this in iOS 14 with HomeKit Secure Video, but here we do have a 4x4 grid of different areas that we can select as being our motion detection zone. So I thought that was pretty interesting as well. Not a feature that we see on every camera, so I do like seeing that. We also have the ability to adjust the sensitivity of not only the motion, but also with our abnormal sound detection, which I thought was a really nice feature. So not only do we have the ability to use the camera's microphone as a way to, sense that there's some sort of abnormal sound, whether it's glass breaking or, maybe a door being pounded upon or something like that. We can also adjust the sensitivity there, which I do think is a great feature. You know, there really are a ton of features with this camera. One of the other cool features I thought was the security feature down at the bottom. We can actually password protect this camera if we so desire, and I think that's a really unique feature that not a whole lot of other cameras have. In fact, if I'm thinking about it off the top of my head, I don't know any other camera that does. If you do, let me know in the comments down below. If we look here, we can also see and manage the storage on the local SD card. We can look at our automations, and this is a really interesting thing here. So we have the if statement, right? The if this, then that. So one of the really cool things here is if our camera, if it detects motion or if it detects abnormal sounds, then we can do a couple of different things actually, right? So for our then part of the statement, we can have the camera start recording. We can also have the camera play an alarm. We can have it wake up. We can do all sorts of things that you can see here, and this is a really useful automation. Now, you know, we'll go ahead and put that disclaimer out there, is that you can set up these automations in the Aqara Home app, but if you want the hub to work properly in HomeKit, you'll want to sign out, but the automations will still run in the background whether you're signed into the Aqara Home app or not. One of the things that makes this camera so flexible is that it is also a Zigbee 3.0 hub. That means that we can add any of the Aqara and Select Me home accessories to the hub, and it can, I think it's 32 different child devices, which is a very good thing. We have, you know, all of the same Aqara accessories that we would be able to add either in HomeKit mode. One thing that we do want to note here is that when we are adding a North American plug, it's not going to be in the list because we are on the mainland China server. So what we'll want to do is just select the Aqara Smart plug there. Once we hold down our different buttons there, then it will add just as if it were a North American plug. So we can do that there. As you can see, we can also add our vibration sensor as well. So that's a really unique feature as well. Looking at the different things that we can do with it in the Home app, it is an HSV camera. So we have all of the standard HSV features that we would have. Across the top, we've got our settings. We have the ability to toggle our audio on and off. We also, across the bottom, we can, you know, we see our live feed. We can also decide if we want to jump into the different accessories that are in that room, if we want to control something there based on the video feed that we're seeing. We can also we can jump into the timeline there and scrub through the different events over the last 10 days with the ability to export those video files, and it brings up a share sheet there as well. If we tap there, we can see that it's next, and that will bring up the share sheet, although I do have some context there that asked to not be included in the video, so we won't do that. So I was pretty excited about this camera from the beginning because of everything that it does have to offer, and it has met my expectations fully. For me personally, since I'm not completely sold on cameras indoors, I would like to see a physical shutter so that I personally know that the camera's off instead of just a digital off mode, but it does have that option if that's a concern of yours. So I would like to see this have some outdoor weatherproofing, but beyond that, it's a very solid HomeKit Secure video camera. And you really can't beat the fact that it has the Zigbee 3.0 hub built right in. So if you're thinking about jumping into the Aqara ecosystem, you really might want to consider this camera. And again, if you're interested in picking up the Aqara G2H Smart Gateway camera, you'll find links in the description box down below. Below the description box, you'll find the comment section. If you have any questions or any comments about the Aqara G2H, let us know there and we'll do our best to answer your questions. Also in the description box, you'll find a link to our full written review over at myhomekithome.com, as well as links to our social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at myhomekithome. If you found today's video useful, you can let us know by giving us a big thumbs up. And if you're interested in more Aqara related content as it pertains to HomeKit, you can click this playlist here, or you can check out this video here. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of our new videos as soon as they're released. Well, that was a long one, and we did just scratch the surface on the Aqara G2H Gateway camera. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and until I see you in the next one, this has been Dustin with My HomeKit Home.